In an environment where so much of what we know about Agile is pushed out to us via learning resources, the internet, social media, it's important to remember one thing. Don't read, don't study, do. Practice, rehearse. That's this week on the Badass Agile Podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. My friends, welcome back. Great to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, a lot of what we know about agility and the field of high performance in general comes from so much information pouring from every angle, every direction. And I think sometimes we can get lost in it. So this week I want to clarify the right approach to consuming all of these opinions and all of this material. But first, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works. Relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile. But we're focused on who we need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. Now remember, if this helps you, tell your friends. All right, you've seen it on social media. Every day there's an outpouring of new must-dos and how to think and how to feel and how to react and the steps you must take in order to quote-unquote be agile, be high-performing, or be valuable. Now, I believe that inspiration is essential. In fact, I have a core belief that we should surround ourselves with great quality sources of inspiration every day. Knowledge, too, is essential. I don't mean to say that we shouldn't be continuously learning, continuously taking on new sources of information, not just inspiration. Different opinions, different experiences, those things matter. But it's what you do with that inspiration. It's what you do with that knowledge, how you act upon both of those that becomes the difference maker. Learn all you like. Read all you want. Like all the posts and memes on social media, but can you identify the courageous leaps that you took today? What were you humble enough to truly learn about yourself or change about yourself? What were you disciplined enough to earn or to get? If you can't answer those questions with a positive affirmation of something that you did, something that you committed to, and then followed through on, then you're probably studying, not so much practicing. See, rehearsal trumps learning any day. Now, I used to be like this. I used to memorize all the sayings, all the wisdom. I used to crave more info. In fact, I believed that there was one perfect book that was going to change everything for me. So I became a book addict. I would buy so many books that I never got around to reading most of them. And those that I read, I would be hard-pressed to tell you what was the one thing that I learned, that I took away from it, that I brought into my practice that helped me change or get better. And here's what that created. It created in my personal practice that I had all of this wisdom, all of this time spent ingesting words and ideas, only to have those ideas inaccessible to me when I needed it the most. In the field of battle, in the midst of performing, when my team needed me the most, when I needed to speak truth to leadership, when I needed to inspire change, when I needed to be able to convince or influence my teams, my clients, my colleagues, my partners. Well, let me ask you a question. And this is what occurred to me, is at some point, what good is all of this knowledge if it's not there to use it when you need it the most? So now you have this mountain of information that you've collected or maybe even forgotten. Maybe you've even taken diligent notes while you're doing all this reading and studying. And there it is, this great big ocean of information. Some of it amplifies each other and some of it conflicts with or disagrees with each other. Here's what you do. You've got all this great knowledge, or even if you haven't got the great knowledge yet, pick an area that you can focus on, where you want to improve. Choose the outcomes that you want and learn to notice when a new action is required from you in your daily life and work. So work with me. If, for example, you want to get better at public speaking, I mean, you just feel it in your bones that if you were a little bit better at it, if you had that natural edge, that every time you got up in a meeting, every time you got up to teach or explain something to your teams, every time you got into a coaching conversation, you could be more effective if you just felt more at home expressing your opinions, talking to people. Awesome. Now find one book, find one person you admire, find one website, find one Instagram account where you think the best, most inspiring information lives for you. One place that you keep going back to. Almost all of them will have top 3 recommendations. Same thing with a book. There will probably be a summary at the end of each chapter. There might even be a book summary that you could buy or download that would suggest the top practices that you must rehearse in order to get better. Learn that. What are the things that you must do in order to improve your public speaking game? Now, that could be mindset shifts in addition to actual tactics, things that you must rehearse and do. Focus on those. And here's the most important part. You have to become attentive to those specific opportunities, because if you're trying to become a better leader, if you're trying to become a better agilist, at the same time as you're trying to become a better public speaker, you're trying to improve too many things at once. You will have read too many different books on too many different topics. And when the time comes to improve your public speaking, to actually get out there and do something where you want to put these new skills to the test, you can't remember which passage from which book you're supposed to recall and what exactly it said. So narrow the field, focus on one. And from your reading, from your learning, from your inspiration, from your study, decide what you will do the next time you have to speak in front of people. How will you prepare? Are there words that you will choose? Maybe you feel like you don't listen enough. So what will you do to help ensure that you get better? That's the first part. And you can rehearse those attitudes, you can rehearse those scripts, you can rehearse those actions. But the other part is that you have to be ready for it. You have to notice when you're in a public speaking situation that you're not listening, you're not attentive, you're losing your audience. And at the moment you see that the outcome you're getting is different than the outcome that you want, it's time to act. Now you practice. And in this respect, it's no different than what we do in a Scrum team. We choose the experiment we want to try. We execute on it. And if we don't get the intended outcome, we try to learn from it. What didn't work? Did I follow the steps directly? Did I follow the steps, but they didn't work? Did I follow the steps, but this wasn't the right application? And then repeat the process. And eventually, you'll have a positive outcome. You'll get the impact that you wanted to get. When that hit occurs, you'll make a note of what worked. You try to figure out why it worked. You'll be observing yourself, changing your thinking, changing your actions. And you'll say, I've got it. I'm onto something. And then we continue to rehearse and continue to rehearse. And after a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months, we can tuck this one aside and say, okay, I'm on the path to improving. Now I can shift focus and move to another skill that I want to improve. See, it's only when you're able to make those changes, however slow they come to you, and gain real success that registers in your mind, that registers in your heart, that registers in your soul, will you build the required muscle memory and confidence to do it again and again. And this is especially essential for those skills that require courage to do, because if it requires courage to do, if there's fear or risk or challenge behind whatever we're trying to improve, it's easy for us to procrastinate, put it off, and say, I just wasn't born to be good at that. But if you can focus and improve just one small area, positive results create more positive results. And then it becomes a way of life, a daily performance, not some advice that you read in a book or a magazine or online. This is the real focus. Stop reading. It's time to act. It's time to rehearse. It's time to put your skills to the test. And the secret is to focus on that narrow outcome, just one area where you want to get better. Then learn to notice, learn to see the opportunities all around you, and then decide to take that one piece of advice, to develop that one skill, to get that one success, Now you're on your way. Friends, I hope this one was inspiring to you. You can reach out as always at badassagile.com. Find me on Twitter at badass_agile or on Instagram at badassagile. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, stay badass.